Most people see pressure as a problem. The Stoics saw it as potential. In a world that tells us to escape hardship, they embraced it. To them, adversity wasn't a roadblock. It was the road itself. Like fire tests gold, challenges test us. And in that test, we don't just survive, we refine, we rise, we evolve. Every obstacle you face carries within it the raw material for your greatness. The Stoics knew this, and they left behind a legacy of mindset-shifting wisdom that continues to inspire warriors of the mind to this day. In this video, we'll break down 3 powerful Stoic principles that can help you face stress, setbacks, and uncertainty with purpose and strength. Whether you're overwhelmed or on the edge of a breakthrough, these timeless ideas will anchor you and elevate you. If you're ready to master your mindset, harness adversity, and rise above the noise, you're exactly where you need to be. Subscribe to the Stoic Code channel for weekly insights that sharpen your thinking and strengthen your spirit. Your transformation starts now. 1. Master your mindset. Perception shapes reality. Every challenge you face begins not with the world around you, but with the world within. The Stoics understood this truth with astonishing clarity. They didn't see pain, fear, or hardship as the enemy. Instead, they believed that how we interpret those events is what determines their power over us. It's not the falling that defeats you, it's the belief that you can't rise again. At the heart of this philosophy is a revolutionary idea. Events themselves are neutral. It's our judgment that makes them good or bad, painful or empowering. Marcus Aurelius, one of history's most powerful leaders, wrote, "If you are pained by any external thing, it is not this thing that disturbs you, but your own judgment about it, and it is in your power to wipe out that judgment now." These words, written centuries ago, are still one of the sharpest tools for navigating modern life. Imagine your mind as a lens. Whatever happens to you, loss, betrayal, failure, passes through that lens before it becomes an experience. If the lens is clouded with fear, insecurity, or anger, everything that enters becomes distorted. But if the lens is clear and trained with discipline, you gain clarity. And with clarity comes power. Think back to a recent setback. Maybe a relationship ended, or you missed a professional opportunity. Your initial reaction might have been frustration, sadness, even rage. But consider this. Did the situation cause your suffering, or did your interpretation of the event do that? This isn't about denying pain. It's about recognizing that pain has layers. The Stoics invite us to peel those layers back and reclaim control over how we experience life. Mastering your mindset begins with awareness. The next time adversity hits, don't rush to react. Instead, pause, breathe. Ask yourself, what am I believing right now that's creating this reaction? Most often you'll find it's a story you've created, and just as you created it, you can revise it. Perception is a choice, and with practice, you can learn to choose power over panic. One of the greatest benefits of this practice is emotional resilience. When you master your perception, you don't just become calmer, you become unshakable. You stop depending on ideal circumstances to feel strong. You stop blaming the world and start building your inner armor. Life becomes less about avoiding hardship and more about meeting it head-on with a steady hand. And this is where the real Stoic power lies, choosing response over reaction. A reactive mind is like a leaf in the wind, blown in every direction by circumstance. A trained mind is like the roots of an oak tree, deep, anchored, immovable. When you master your mindset, you gain the ability to respond to life with precision, not panic. You don't crumble under pressure, you sharpen. The mind is your strongest asset, but also your greatest battleground. Left unchecked, it can create chaos from calm, but when trained, it becomes your greatest ally. This training doesn't happen by accident, it happens through conscious effort. Start by journaling each day. Reflect on moments when you lost control and rewrite those moments with clarity. Ask yourself, how could I have seen this differently? Over time, you'll rewire your responses and reclaim your composure. Another tool is the use of Stoic mantras, simple phrases like, "I control my judgment," or "I am not my emotions," act as anchors in the storm. Repeat them in moments of stress. Use them to ground yourself when your mind wants to spiral. These aren't just words, they're reminders of your power. When used consistently, they become second nature. And from this nature, discipline emerges. The world will never stop presenting challenges. People will disappoint you. Plans will fall apart. Pain will visit. But none of these things have to defeat you, unless you let them. The moment you decide that your interpretation is more powerful than the event itself, you shift from victim to warrior. You begin living life from the inside out, not the outside in. Your perception is the foundation of your peace. Protect it, train it, sharpen it. With time, you'll become someone who can walk through fire without flinching, not because the fire stopped burning, but because your mind stopped fearing it. That's what it means to master your mindset. Clarity isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. In a world of noise and pressure, the ability to see clearly gives you a competitive edge. It makes you more effective, more confident, and more resilient. It keeps you grounded when others lose their footing. It lets you lead when others follow their emotions. Most importantly, it allows you to live intentionally, not reactively. And remember, perception isn't just how you see the world, it's how you see yourself. When you learn to reframe obstacles as opportunities, you also learn to see yourself not as someone who suffers, but as someone who overcomes. You create an identity rooted in strength, wisdom, and self-control. That's the true reward of Stoic perception. Not just surviving life's storms, but learning to navigate them with mastery. Your mind can be your greatest weapon or your heaviest chain. The choice is yours. Will you let perception control you, or will you take control of your perception? 2. Adversity is an opportunity for growth. Most people instinctively avoid adversity. The moment hardship appears, the natural reaction is to retreat, complain, or wish it away. It's seen as something negative, a disruption, a roadblock, a punishment. But the Stoics offered a revolutionary counterpoint. Adversity isn't an obstacle to growth, it is the growth. In fact, to the Stoic, adversity is sacred. It's not something to fear or avoid, but something to embrace with resolve, because every moment of hardship is an invitation to rise. Marcus Aurelius, Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, penned one of the most powerful ideas in this regard. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. These words are more than ancient wisdom, they're a blueprint for resilience. When you meet resistance in life, it's not a signal to stop. It's a redirection, a lesson, an opportunity. Every obstacle has the potential to carve a deeper version of you, wiser, stronger, more capable. Consider how strength is built. Think of a sword. A sword is not born, it is forged. Shaped in fire, hammered through pressure, cooled and refined over and over until it becomes a weapon. You, too, are being forged. Life's heat, loss, fear, rejection, failure is the pressure that sculpts your edge. Every trial is asking you, will you rise or retreat? The Stoics' answer is always the same, rise. Seneca, another great Stoic, compared adversity to fire that tests and purifies gold. Why gold? Because it's precious. And like gold, your true strength is revealed only under pressure. When times are easy, anyone can appear composed. But when the world shakes and your plans crumble, that's when your character is tested. That's when the truth is revealed. And the truth is this: adversity isn't breaking you, it's revealing you. This isn't about pretending pain doesn't hurt. The Stoics never denied the weight of suffering, but they taught that pain carries with it a purpose. And once you stop asking, "Why me?" and start asking, "What is this shaping in me?" everything changes. You move from victim to student, from helpless to empowered. Let's get practical. Say you failed at something deeply important, a job, a relationship, a dream. Most people sink into shame or regret, but the Stoic reframes. They write about it. They reflect on what the experience uncovered. Perhaps the failure exposed a weakness to improve, a blind spot to correct, or a value you'd been ignoring. The adversity didn't destroy you, it revealed your next lesson. This mindset is not just empowering, it's essential for long-term success, because life doesn't spare anyone from suffering. You will be challenged. You will be pushed to your edge. The question is, will you become bitter or better? Modern psychology supports this ancient view. Studies on post-traumatic growth show that many people emerge from hardship with increased resilience, stronger relationships, and a clearer sense of purpose. But that growth only happens when adversity is faced with intentional reflection, when you see pain not as a dead end, but as a gateway. Use adversity like a gym. Each challenge is a repetition. Struggling with patience? Good. Life just gave you a training session. Facing uncertainty? You're now practicing trust and adaptability. Dealing with betrayal? That's your opportunity to grow deeper integrity and forgiveness. The gym may be uncomfortable, but every repetition adds strength. The Stoic doesn't seek suffering, but neither do they run from it. They meet it with curiosity. What is this moment trying to teach me? What strength is it asking me to uncover? How can I become better, not in spite of this, but because of this? Discomfort is the price of transformation. You weren't built to stay comfortable. You were built to evolve. And evolution requires resistance. Growth doesn't happen in ease. It happens in pressure. In the heat of adversity, your values are tested, your discipline is sharpened, and your clarity is refined. Greatness is never born in the comfort zone. Build habits around this mindset. Start by journaling. When something difficult arises, don't just vent. Ask, what am I learning? Keep a record of what each hardship teaches you. Over time, this creates a map of your resilience. It shows you that nothing was wasted. Every challenge had meaning. Another habit: seek controlled adversity. Take cold showers. Have tough conversations. Set bold goals that scare you a little. These small discomforts train your mind to become comfortable with resistance. So when bigger trials come, and they will, you don't panic. You activate. Most importantly, remember, adversity builds depth. A tree with shallow roots cannot weather storms, but a tree with deep roots, planted through years of storms, stands tall through anything. Your depth comes from your scars, not your trophies, from what you endured, not what came easy. So the next time you face hardship, remember, this is the forge, this is your fire, and fire doesn't just burn, it refines. 3. Memento Mori. Embrace mortality to fuel purpose. There's one truth that levels every human being, from emperors to peasants, from titans of industry to those quietly walking the path of everyday life: you will die. That truth, while often feared or ignored, is at the very core of the Stoic philosophy. But the Stoics didn't treat death as something to dread. They treated it as a compass, a clarifying force, a motivator. They called it Memento Mori, Latin for "remember you must die," not as a death sentence, but as a wake-up call, a reminder that life is finite, and that fact is your greatest advantage. To the Stoic, Remembering mortality isn't about gloom or despair. It's about perspective. We live as if time is unlimited, postponing our dreams, numbing ourselves with distractions, or avoiding the difficult truths we should confront. But the clock is always ticking. That's not meant to create fear. It's meant to ignite action. When you understand, truly understand, that today could be your last, you stop waiting to become the person you want to be. You start now. Seneca once wrote, "Let us prepare our minds as if we had come to the very end of life." That's not a call to sadness. It's a call to intention. When you live like time is running out, you begin to prioritize what truly matters. You don't waste your energy on petty arguments, shallow ambitions, or trying to impress people who wouldn't show up at your funeral. You focus on building a life that matters, one rooted in truth, virtue, love, and courage. This clarity strips life down to its essentials. Suddenly the excuses fade. You don't wait to start writing your book, having the conversation that matters, or taking that leap of faith. Because you understand something others forget. One day, you won't have the chance. The opportunity you keep postponing may never return, and the people you care about won't always be there to hear the words left unsaid. Death, when viewed rightly, is not a thief, it's a teacher. The Stoics often carried physical reminders of mortality, a coin engraved with a skull, a ring inscribed with Memento Mori. These weren't symbols of fear, but of focus. In our time, that might be a wallpaper on your phone, a message taped to your bathroom mirror, or a charm on your bracelet. A gentle whisper, "This moment matters. Don't waste it." When you start to see each day as a gift, your behavior changes. You begin to speak with more truth. You start acting with more courage. You say what you mean. You let go of petty grudges. You stop procrastinating on your goals. Life is too short to waste being who you're not. And every second spent living someone else's idea of success is a second stolen from your own. This isn't about becoming impulsive or reckless. In fact, quite the opposite. Memento Mori calls you to live with intention, to become more deliberate with your time, your energy, your love. You don't scroll endlessly through distractions. You don't numb yourself with mindless busyness. You pause. You reflect. You ask, does this align with my purpose? Will this matter when my time is up? Steve Jobs once said, "Remembering that I'll be dead soon is the most important tool I've ever encountered to help me make big life decisions." He wasn't a Stoic in name, but in practice, he embodied the idea. When you face a choice, think about it from the vantage point of your last day. Would you regret playing it safe? Would you be proud of how you lived? Or would you wish you had been bolder, more authentic, more alive? This mindset is the ultimate antidote to fear. Afraid of failure, of rejection, of embarrassment. None of those things matter when compared to a life unlived. Death doesn't make life meaningless. It makes it urgent. It gives weight to every choice. It says, you don't have forever, so act like it. And perhaps the most powerful effect of Memento Mori is how it deepens gratitude. When you realize that each sunrise could be your last, the ordinary becomes extraordinary. The morning coffee, the laugh of a friend, the quiet moments alone, these become sacred. You begin to experience life more fully, not because it's perfect, but because it's fleeting. Modern research supports what the Stoics taught centuries ago. Psychologists call it mortality salience, the awareness of death, and studies show that it can increase gratitude, strengthen relationships, and push people to align their actions with their core values. When we contemplate our own impermanence, we naturally become more focused, more compassionate, and more courageous. So how do you apply this every day? Begin each morning with a simple question. If today were my last, how would I live it? Use that lens to guide your decisions. Choose the meaningful over the convenient, the courageous over the comfortable. Write down one intentional action you'll take today that reflects the life you actually want to live. At the end of the day, reflect. What did you make count? Where did you hold back? Use that insight not to shame yourself, but to calibrate your compass. This practice of daily reflection sharpens your awareness and aligns you with your deeper purpose. Because when the end comes, and it will, you won't wish you had spent more time worrying or waiting. You'll wish you had lived more boldly, loved more deeply, and acted with more urgency. Memento Mori is not a grim reminder of death, it is the fuel for a life well lived. So carry your reminder, speak your truth, and let this day, this one, right now, be the day you start living like it counts, because it does. And for more timeless tools to live with courage, purpose, and clarity, subscribe to the Stoic Code channel. You've just unlocked 3 of the most transformative perspectives in the Stoic tradition. 3 timeless lenses through which life's storms are not barriers, but bridges. First, the mastery of mindset. Understanding that your perception, not your circumstance, shapes your reality. Second, the embrace of adversity. Recognizing that struggle is not a punishment, but a proving ground that reveals who you truly are. And third, the humbling yet empowering reminder of mortality, that time is fleeting and the only life worth living is one driven by meaning and aligned with purpose. Together, these principles form more than a mindset. They form a code, a Stoic code, a path of clarity in a world full of noise, a way of life that chooses courage over comfort, focus over frenzy, and action over excuses. The Stoics weren't merely thinkers, they were warriors of the mind. They didn't just endure adversity, they used it as fuel. They didn't ignore emotion, they mastered their responses. They didn't deny death, they transformed it into urgency, presence, and power. And now, so can you. When you train your perception, you step off the emotional roller coaster that so many live on. You stop reacting impulsively and start responding with purpose. You realize that it's not people, circumstances, or bad days that shake you. It's your interpretation of them. With clarity comes control. You stop outsourcing your peace to things you cannot command. You begin living from the inside out, not the outside in. When adversity strikes, and it will, you stop resisting it like a curse. Instead, you ask, "What is this here to teach me?" You stop begging for ease and start building strength, because the Stoic understands that the obstacle is the way. That comfort never builds character, but pressure, pain, and persistence do. Every challenge becomes a mirror, revealing where you've been playing small and calling you to rise into something greater. And when you reflect on your mortality, you wake up. You stop treating time as something you own and begin honoring it as something you borrow. You live each day less distracted and more deliberate, less afraid of failure and more afraid of wasted potential. You stop chasing things that don't matter and start nurturing what does: your values, your virtues, your relationships, your purpose. This is the essence of Stoic power. It's not about emotionless detachment. It's about emotional discipline. It's not about apathy. It's about choosing what deserves your energy. Stoicism is not a cold philosophy. It's a burning fire of focus, a furnace that forges resilience, clarity, and strength, not by hiding from life, but by stepping fully into it. So ask yourself, what will you do with these truths? Will you continue waiting for the perfect moment, or will you begin now? Will you keep flinching when life presses against you, or will you press back with grit and grace? Will you live by default, or will you live by design? Because you have the tools now, the mindset, the philosophy, the fire, and while the road ahead will still have obstacles, You're no longer the person who fears them. You're the one who grows through them. Let these lessons not sit idle as inspiration, but be forged into action. Master your mind. Train your perception. Catch your judgments before they become your truth. Frame adversity as the gym for your spirit. Each trial you face is a rep that builds unshakable strength, and carry Memento Mori not as a morbid reminder, but as a call to live with boldness, to speak truth, to love fully, and to act without hesitation. Remember, your life doesn't need to be long to be meaningful. It needs to be intentional. Each moment you live aligned with your values is a victory. Each time you choose courage over comfort, clarity over chaos, you're walking the Stoic path. And that path never ends, it only deepens. So if you're ready to keep sharpening your mind, strengthening your spirit, and rising into your potential, then make this your daily practice, not once, not someday, but now, because now is all you truly have. Subscribe to the Stoic Code channel for more mind-shaping content rooted in ancient wisdom and modern clarity. Together, we'll explore the art of calm in chaos, strength in struggle, and purpose in the fleeting moments we're given. This is your call to live boldly, to think deeply, to act decisively, to love fiercely, to leave nothing on the table. The Stoic path isn't for the faint of heart. It's for those willing to confront truth, tame the ego, and become stronger because of the very challenges that once held them back. So keep walking, keep growing, keep becoming the person you were meant to be, because your journey has only just begun.